Hey guys, Rollout here with another Let's Build, and today we are finally entering the world of B-Daman's 02 system, thanks to my boy Toxic Adam, who pushed me down a rabbit hole and sent this my way. This is the Sonokong version of Cobalt Saber Fire, the Korean release, and as I understand, it's very similar in quality to a Hasbro or a Takara offering, the only difference, I think, being the stickers. Now, these Korean releases apparently have a much better adhesive on the stickers, so they hold up a lot more, but they also have some strange English printed on them, like B-Daman, but that's pretty irrelevant to me. This comes with a strike shot, the drive shot. Can't wait to test that out. It also has the fire wing, which is apparently very powerful. Cobalt Saber Fire, I've heard, is one of the most powerful B-Daman of all time. We have the drive core here of the blaster core system there. So I can't wait to test this guy out. However, I have heard that the Firewing assembly is also among the most tricky to put together in, well, all of B-Daman, which is intimidating because, as you know, I have messed up a synchro grip on camera, and I also had trouble attaching Black Knight's shoulder parts. So I am worried. But let's get this guy open. Oh, that is strange. All of these parts are bagless. So we have some foot parts, some arm parts. We've seen those before, of course. What's going on here? I was not expecting this, but that's fine. Let's toss the box aside. I always thought the Korean packaging was super ugly, personally, but let's take a look at all of these different runners. So we have the blaster core, the separate head part here, very different to the 01 system B-Daman that I've built before. We have what looks like parts of the power wing here. We have hold parts, as well as the little rings that keep the head attached. This is all very exciting. Some rubber parts here, the horn, some pieces on the arms. I didn't know those were rubber. This is kind of a almost translucent-y rubber plastic. Interesting. More parts to the wings, I think, here. These tiny little parts. Those look very tricky. And then we have some head parts, shoulder parts, feet parts, things of that nature. Finally, let's open up the instructions here. Oh, good. We don't need to rip anything open. That's nice. We have several little springs. I'll take a look at these in just a second. But, wow, okay. So, we have two of these size springs. Then we have a very tiny spring. Don't really know what that's for. Oh, we have two of those as well. Oof. And then we have the trigger spring as well. So let's make sure we don't lose all of those immediately. Here is the ammunition. We have one glass marble. I'm glad that this comes with that. I wasn't expecting it to, but of course I have plenty. And then we have the drive shot here, which is a plastic marble. I don't know if that's hollow. It seems awfully light, so I don't think there's a metal bearing in the middle. I could be wrong, but you also have this strip of rubber here. So you kind of line that up in the B-Daman upright so the two drive strips make contact, and this should go very, very fast is the idea. We have the sticker sheet here. Again, some English on there, but that's fine. If you want to apply those, again, I've heard that the adhesive holds up pretty well. And then finally, we have the instructions, which look fairly straightforward, but I will actually make sure to examine these this time so that I don't make any mistakes. One can hope. Based on the complexity, I've decided to split this build up into segments, which is weird to do for a battle beat-em-on, because previously the only ones complex enough to facilitate this were Crash beat-em-on, but this is 0-2, and there's a little bit more going on here. Incidentally, I've found that these little support rings are fairly convenient for keeping your B-Daman from rolling around, so that's fun. But let's start building here with the drive core. So here are the triple hold parts. These sections here seem pretty thin, so I don't really want to risk having to pull those apart, but we'll see. I could have already made a mistake, who knows. Then the drive strip goes in there, like that. Then this goes here. This assembly with the top section and the bottom should be pretty familiar to anybody who's built 0-1. Despite not having a head, it's still fairly similar. So we have that, and then let's see, what way does the text read here? It goes this way, so that plugs in like that, I think. Can we get this in? Should be able to. Ooh, ow. Jammed my finger a little bit there. And then, can never remember, the Takara and Sonokong springs for the main trigger here are kind of cone-shaped. I can never remember which way it wants you to attach these, but I'm going to go with this way for now. Might change that later. And I think that there is the drive core. Now, obviously, if you have a drive Garu burn, the drive core from the Emblem Charge system is clearly an homage to this, which is very, very cool. Very similar colors, actually. Like, that's pretty spot on from what I can see. Well, maybe it's a little off, but still clearly an homage. Now let's attach the arms and legs. This should be interesting. So, actually, let's start with the head here. Looks very similar to the 0-1 system head, although it's a fair bit more detailed, I've noticed. It has these extra little sections here. I think even the arms and legs might have a little bit more detail on them than the 0-1 system, which is pretty interesting. But this just kind of sits on top here, I think. And that's actually a little bit more secure than I expected it to be. But you attach the head onto the core, so you can swap out cores in this system, which is pretty neat. Then you take these rings, put them over the shoulders to keep the head on. It's not the most elegant solution, and I've heard that these can break, which is intimidating because you don't get any extras in this release, at least. I think a couple other beat-em-on in the future in the 0-2 system came with extras, so like I said, in case you split those, you're not out of luck completely. But then, of course, arms and legs attached just like the 0-1 system. And there we have Cobalt Saber Fire's core body. Before tackling the trickiest part, the firearms, let's give this guy some identity by attaching his cosmetic armor. I'm not even kidding. The pun, firearms, just now occurred to me. But let's start with the headpiece here. How does this go? I think we need to attach the visor first. Now, if you remember the original Cobalt blade, on the Hasbro version, they actually split this visor piece up into two pieces and had this connected to it. And on the original release, it was actually a separate piece, which makes a whole lot more sense because it means you don't have to split the sticker in half to pull him apart. And this carried over, of course, to Cobalt Saber and Cobalt Saber Fire, so much better. And then these pieces on the side should just plug together. Interestingly, the instructions actually have you put the helmet together first and then attach it to the body, but I don't really know how this visor piece is supposed to stay in there on its own. Maybe these little pegs here do the job, but I couldn't tell you. The 02 system makes a whole lot more sense with head parts as well because it means you don't just have to pull the helmet off, you can actually pull the entire head off for customization, which I think is just a whole lot better. But then you have this piece here, whoops. Yeah, that goes on like that. It's just a little tight. And then we have the horn here, which is red this time instead of white like on the original Cobalt Saber. Very cool looking. Lots of nice detail there. I mean, compared to Cobalt Blade and such. Then we can attach the feet. Oh, actually, we need to plug these in first. I probably should have done that before I attached these sections, but what can you do? I forgot. Fortunately, it's not impossible to do it with the helmet already attached. No small thanks to the fact that this is like a rubber piece. Oh, this side's being super tricky though. Hopefully I can get that in there. How'd I get it in so easily the first time? Huh. I don't want to rip anything. Maybe I'm going to do this off camera here. Okay, so there you go. This is actually an entirely separate piece, like I said, and they want you to plug it onto the head like this, which I suppose works, but I don't know. Especially with the 02 system, it seems more practical just to pull the whole head off, and also I always found it tricky to get these sides plugged in there. But anyway, there is the head. That's nice. It's also got some feet. I did that. I forgot. Then you have these sections here, which I think are unique to Saber Fire. And maybe they go this way? I don't know. No, maybe not. It's just a strangely shaped piece here. Wonder if that's like comfortable if you hold it this way or something. I don't really know. Now these shoulder pieces will actually be replaced once we attach the firearms, but you do get these just as a product of this being kind of an upgraded Cobalt Saber. How do these go on? I'm just having trouble with shoulder parts. Do these require an extra piece? Maybe. What the? Alright, well, I wanted to attach these. There we go. Okay. Oof. I just having a hard time with shoulder armor. There we go. I think they might attach at like a weird angle or something. Anyway, there he is with those original shoulders. But of course, those will be replaced with the firearms, like I said. Okay, so I've taken it upon myself to pre-build half of this assembly so that I know what to expect. And the idea is that it'll make this go a little bit more smoothly. But of course, anything is possible. Let's start with the more simple shoulder section here. I've taken this tiny, tiny spring and put it in a tray off camera so I don't lose it, hopefully. But that goes in there. And then this lines up here. And... ooh. Don't go missing on me, little spring. There we go. Okay. Cool. Shoulder assembly completed. We'll set that off to the side. And now we can build the actual wing, which is a little bit more complex. So, no pressure. This attaches in here like that. Then we take this little piece, and I can just imagine this snapping in half super easily like a toothpick. But we got our little suspension here. And that, very awkwardly, slides in here and clips on there. Not dissimilar to Justice Ifrit a little bit. So we got kind of a shock absorber sort of thing. And then this plugs in here like that. All right, so far so good. And yeah, there we go. We got 2 of those now as well. So I think these, which one goes on here? These go on like that. And these pieces here are actually separate, I think. If you want to attach a DHB core to this B-Daman, the shoulder parts actually have to be separate. There can't be anything on the back like this here. So these are so you don't actually have to attach this piece, I believe. So you can have those like that. And actually, I think this might be the wrong shoulder. Ooh, okay. Let's attach this one instead. Yeah, there we go. So this has a little slot there, a little hook on there. So those go into each other. That goes on there. And then when this comes down, this little spring opens up and actually locks that in place. That's starting to make a whole lot more sense. Okay. So let's actually remove this piece and attach the main one first, though. So that goes in like that. Ooh, that's kind of scary and tight, but oh well. And then we have these little fins that I think attach here. I hope this is right. Seems right. Very snug, though. We got another one here. It's a little tinny, springy sound there. It's kind of nice, actually. It makes it feel more mechanical. Makes it feel more like a machine. Oh, whoops. I need to attach this first. Wing slides on there. This goes on there. I can just imagine snapping this in half, too. Yikes. Okay, there we have the wing assembly and these pieces as well. That wasn't too bad. These, of course, can come forward. And that looks awesome. But now let's see if we can get them on this guy. So, these shoulder parts come off. They're very snug on there as well, so I don't feel too bad about not being able to get those on in the first place. But this whole thing goes over his shoulders and plugs in to the back. Preferably without breaking anything. Okay, I gotta get these lined up. Okay. Okay. I think that's it. I think we did it. I think we built this guy. Nice part is it keeps his arms kind of locked together. Oh yeah, these little bits provide some support for your fingers down here. That's actually pretty nice. It feels very solid. A little bit like Cannon Drive Garu Burn, actually, which I'm sure is part of the homage as well. Then these come down, lock in place, and then you got some little like suspension sections that attach to the delta core here. And that should give us a lot of power. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good about this. Okay, let's load him up, test him out. First, the normal B-Daman here. Yikes! Wow, wow, wow. Okay. And finally, let's do the strike shot. Line that up there, the two drive strips together. Hopefully that doesn't misalign here. This is the impractical and silly part about strike shots. Some of them you just have to line up, which is a little weird, but yikes. All right, this is gonna be fun. Can't wait to try this guy out on the B-Spee V and give some more thought out opinions on him in an actual review. But until then, this has been Rollout, signing off.